Hi, Kim. How are you?
I'm good. Belinda, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm excited for our talk together. I do want to learn so much more about homeopathy. I'm here with Kim DeNeffe, and she is the founder of Heart Roots Homeopathy. I'm going to start with your bio. So, Kim DeNeffe grew up in Portland, Oregon, where her natural sensitivity to the world around her sparked an early interest in energy work and healing. In 2018, she was introduced to homeopathy and felt an immediate connection to it. She went on to earn her certification in intuitive homeopathy in 2021 and has since dedicated herself to helping others explore this form of healing and navigate their own wellness journeys. She has also spent more than 5 years studying with homeopathic masters from around the world on detoxification protocols and other diverse methods. At Portland Psychic School and the Berkeley Psychic Institute, she continues to refine her intuitive abilities so she can better understand her clients' energy and guide them with care and insight. Is there anything else you'd like to add to that, Kim?
Just that I think everyone that homeopathy is going to be our medicine in the future because it's so vital that we not suppress everything anymore. And that I think everyone, it's such an amazing medicine that everyone needs to be utilizing it. Yeah.
It always has been for
Mhm.
centuries, so
Mhm.
we're just going back to it.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. When we met, you had shared that you helped your daughter reverse the symptoms of what is considered PANDAS, autoimmune encephalitis, in allopathic medicine. You described the experience of the onset of the symptoms as your once vibrant, high achieving daughter became withdrawn, fatigued, and she had developed a sudden onset of OCD. Can you describe for us briefly what your journey back to wellness for your daughter looked like?
Yes, it was a long road with pandas. They consider this not a, it's more of a psychiatric label for them rather than an immune system disorder, which is what it really is. But when I went to the doctor and Helen was diagnosed with strep, and I had the feeling that it was pandas, she referred us to a psychiatric doctor, and I knew that it was more of an immune system dysregulation, and so I I went to go look for help, and it turns out that a friend of mine has a kid who also has pandas. And so I reached out to her, and she gave me a list of doctors that had been sent to her that had helped other families. And when I reached out to those doctors, they all had a waiting list of 6 to 12 months
Now,
because
are these traditional Western allopathic doctors?
these were naturopaths.
Naturopaths. Okay.
Because traditional doctors just see it as a psychiatric disorder because of the behavior and the OCD, and they don't know how to treat that.
And then, when I described it and I said pandas, and you consider it an autoimmune encephalitis. Isn't
Hmm.
encephalitis a swelling of your brain?
Yes,
And doesn't that happen when we get a lot of toxins injected at a young age?
yes,
Okay.
definitely. So she developed this right after she had had her vaccines when she was younger, but she had a bad reaction to one. And so she couldn't even walk for a couple days after one of her vaccinations. So I decided we were going to be done with those and didn't want to give her any more. And so then when in high school, she started to have anxiety, and we had just switched doctors, and the doctor, um, the first thing out of her mouth was, "Oh, she hasn't had a flu vaccine in years." And so I was just like, oh, it's just a flu vaccine, pretty benign. People get them every year. Like, okay, I just want to get this over with so we can talk about like her anxiety. And she got the vaccine, and that was the catapult. That's what catapulted her into. this PANDAS autoimmune encephalitis condition.
Hmm.
So, yeah, and physicians see it as a controversial diagnosis because they don't know how to treat it.
They don't know it.
They don't know it at all.
Right.
So I knew I wasn't going to get help there. So I saw a couple different naturopaths who had just kind of opened up their doors to try to help, wonderful people who were trying, but they really didn't know what they were doing back then. And they were just giving a bunch of supplements. I think at one point she was on like 30 supplements a day. And she was just, and she didn't want to take any supplements. And she was, just had regressed so much to more like a 6-year-old. She was like by my side and just had
This is
really,
how old was she when she was
she was 14.
14? Okay.
Yeah. And so a high school senior. And so and she just was very, I mean, as you can imagine, with a brain on fire, if you've ever heard of that book, Brain on Fire, she wasn't very diligent about doing anything. She wasn't compliant. She was really just full of rage and,
Oh gosh.
anger. And it was a very tough to get her to go to appointments at all. And then to have doctors like basically, I remember one naturopath was like, well, she doesn't meet the criteria for PANDAS. And I was like, well, what do you mean? And she's like, well, she doesn't have OCD. And and that next week we went to a psychiatrist and she did. She just it was a more perfectionistic, so everything had to be perfect. And so that
Yeah.
was her OCD, but I hadn't gone to a psychiatrist because she hadn't had this before.
Right.
It was all new. So, yeah, we saw a lot of different naturopaths, and the protocol at that time was to put you on antibiotics until you're 18. Like
Wait, from the naturopaths?
from the naturopath, that's all they knew to do.
What?
Yeah, yeah, and that will stop the strep. But then, right? Like
Ah,
that was like
does
I
not make
know
any sense.
what antibiotic, I know what they do to your gut, and that's like the last thing she needs. And so,
Right.
but we didn't have anywhere else to go.
Right.
So the first round of antibiotics, she just got sicker and sicker and sicker,
Ah.
and wouldn't leave her bed. She had no vitality whatsoever, and so I ran into this friend of mine. I think I was kind of guided because I ran into this friend of mine and she's like, "Oh, my friend has a son with pandas and you should reach out to her because she has healed him. The practitioner has healed him." So I reached out to her and she said, "Yeah, I'm actually working with this person out of California, but she's a year out. She's a year out. So you wouldn't be able to get into her for a year." And I was like, "Oh, okay." She's like, "But there's this website, Saving Our Pandas, and they're doing a lot of alternative medicine and they're having some results." And so I was like, "Okay, I'll go look on that." And so it's a Facebook group. And sure enough, they were doing all these, amazing camel's milk and things for
Mhm.
inflammation no one really knows about. But the woman who started, Erin Page, she had just started doing homeopathy with her son, and she was saying it was just remarkable, the results. And so I was like, okay, I need to try this. So it was we went through a couple different homeopaths. There was this one out of California, and they are very classical. And the first remedy they put Helen on was just like, oh, blew us away. It's almost like she didn't have anything wrong with her all of a sudden, like within the first remedy.
What?
And it was just like too good to be true because
Right.
it's like, how can that be when she hasn't really left her bed in a year? And
Right?
so it was crazy. It was really crazy. She wasn't able to go to school her whole freshman year and she had been
Mhm.
bedridden and she all of a sudden she was like, "Mom, I think I want to go to driving school." And I was like, "Oh my God, that's so stressful. Like, of all the things you want to do right now is
Right.
go sit in a classroom and learn how to drive and go get behind the wheel." But she did it. She was just like, it's almost like it was an overnight, like game
Wow.
changer. But this wasn't a panda specialist, and so as the remedy wore off, there's so many layers to
Yes.
this complex kids. I've come to learn
Yeah.
that it really takes a specialist for that. So eventually we got into Dr. Angelica Lemke, and she's out of Ashland, Oregon, and she's an intuitive homeopath. And so once we got in with her, it's almost like every remedy that she gave was just like the perfect vibrational match for Helen. And she just got better and better and better
What?
with
Oh my
every
God.
prescription. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It was amazing. It was, I mean, it's
It's that's the medicine. And what I love about homeopathy is I have a friend who is also a homeopathic practitioner, and she says the goal of homeopathy is that you don't need to take it anymore. Like we're working in this realm where like we're balancing your energetics so that you don't need to take it. And
right.
that's energetic medicine is like that too. I do energy healing, and that's the thing. You don't need to keep coming to me. We're not like trying to like drain your bank account. We're we're working so that your body can balance itself.
Well, I mean, it actually heals the body, which is
Right.
amazing because every other like Western medicine, it's like you're just kind of suppressing the symptom.
Right, right,
Whereas here, you're actually getting to it's an energy match, so there your energy is out of balance, and so what it does is it comes in and matches that energy and brings it, and the body innately wants to go back into balance, and this is how it does it: is it will bring it energetically back into balance once you match it with something,
right.
and it's all natural, and so literally emotional problems. I specialize in, more chronic emotional problems because I just think it's amazing that to not have to take a drug for the rest of your life. Instead, that these things can be healed within a couple weeks. And all this grief or anger that you've held, and it can just be gone and you never have to come back.
Okay, so you said you specialize in energetic emotion, and so that people don't have to be on a drug for their entire lives. So the first thing that comes in my mind is you help like people who tend to have depression or anxiety, and you can
Or
move them
anger.
through that or anger.
hmm
Oh, like anger management. Anger management issues, people could come to a homeopath.
Well, and you're not even managing it. You're just finding the remedy that matches that signature of what their energy looks like,
Yeah.
and then it's gone. Like the energy is rebalanced. So then that whatever you don't even have to consciously know why you're angry. You don't have to be
Right.
like, "Oh, this is what happened between,
Yeah.
so and so and I'm really angry about it."
Right.
And there's, you don't have to have a label, but we just match the signature imprint of whatever plant or animal or mineral is out there to
Right.
what your energy pattern is in your body, and it will just line up. It's almost like tuning a guitar or tuning an instrument. It
Mhm.
finds the matching tune and then it just balances out, and it's nothing short. It's just amazing how it just the body intrinsically knows how to heal itself, and that's what homeopathy does, is it shows it where
I
the
mean
imbalance
that
is.
right. That is the basic truth that we have to understand is that the body is self-healing. The body is
Yes.
always self-healing.
Yes.
And so whatever remedy you're taking for yourself, you have to ask yourself, am I helping my body to do its own healing or am I hindering it?
Right.
Right?
Yes.
And that there's so much nuance that goes along with that, even just our own emotions and our own thoughts, because thoughts matter.
hmm
But also, man, when you talk about the way that you can heal using homeopathy, I go back to that depression because I think back to a friend that I had who had depression and he was dealing with it allopathically. And there would be days when we would go out with him and he's just like not there. And we're like,
hmm
oh, dang, they got to dial back his meds, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like trial and error. But in that trial and error, you're really kind of like not even there. And
Yeah.
that's just weird.
And so you're just suppressing what's, all this energy
Yeah.
that's dark. And instead, what's great with homeopathy is you'll actually have a release. You'll be able to cry. Like maybe that
Yeah.
grief is so suppressed and from so long ago
Yeah.
that you don't even know you're just kind of, there's a wall around you, almost an energetic wall. And then what
Yeah.
the medicine will come in and just like you'll have this like grief release.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, and then you won't, be depressed anymore.
Yeah.
Um, and you don't even have to mentally process it. It's amazing.
That's what's incredible, right? Because we have a lot of therapists or practitioners out there that work within the realms of like, you need to get to the root
Hmm.
of the feeling and then bring it up and release it. And actually, we don't. We don't.
No.
We can just release it. Because in my mind, I've been having these conversations with friends and saying, why do we have to go back? It's something that's already passed. Why would we drudge up the past?
Hmm.
Why can't we just move forward?
Yeah. And that's what's so great about homeopathy is that I mean, we can go into birth trauma. We can go into, something that has happened in your ancestors. And so you don't need to have necessarily obviously processed what your ancestors. For example, so my daughter, she, my mom had been raped during her lifetime, and she never processed that experience. And so when my daughter came in, because my mom carried the energy when I was in her womb, and then my daughter, I passed it down to her. So my daughter carried that energy of that physical assault. And so when she would come in, she would tell me when she was reading, like in fourth grade, Mom, I can't even see the word rape. Like I'm so triggered by it. It's so scary to me and it just makes me so scared. And then Angelica is an intuitive. And so when Dr. Lemke was entreating us, she said, well, I'm hearing rape. I'm hearing rape. And I said, well, my mom had been raped. And she's like, yeah, well, she brought that in. And so it's time to heal that in your family lineage. And so she gave her a remedy and like it can heal that level of, yeah,
That is mind blowing.
it's mind blowing. Hmm.
Oh gosh. Th there are so many layers to the human existence.
The possibilities are just endless. And
Oh gosh.
yeah,
So,
and
oh my gosh, that's an incredible story. Thank you for sharing.
hmm, yeah, of course.
And so, can you share about how your work within the psychic realms informs your work with your clients? Have you worked with other autists, like in the telepathy tapes, right? They work in that sort of um, telepathic realm, energetic realm.
Yeah.
Does that inform
Yeah.
your work?
I mean, what I love about the telepathy tapes, it's just it's it's explaining homeopathy without having to talk about homeopathy. It's because it's working not in the material world of like cells and biology, but it's working in our quantum world of everything's energy. And so, when these autists do the things that they do, they're working, in that energetic field, just like homeopathy. And so my work is, I mean, it's all in that energy field. And so, working with complex kids, I can tune into someone's picture actually, and so I'll have someone send me their photo, and then I can look at that photo and energetically tune into them. And oftentimes, my guides will just give me the remedy that these people need um, to take, and then I can. So it's really an amazing. It reminds me of the telepathy tapes. It's like telepathy in that I'm able to tune in to this field of energy and get what it looks like and get a remedy for them so that they can heal.
So you were inspired probably to enter into the psychic realm to learn more about it because of Dr. Lemke and what
You know,
she does, or
I have always been interested in the psychic realm. I've been a meditator for, 25 years. So I definitely have always been interested in the energetic, the world, and talking to angels and working with guides is nothing new. And so that was so that was kind of an obvious fit to go work with her when I saw that she works with complex kids. Yeah, it was a good match.
yeah, because clearly as a mother, and when your daughter was experiencing her pandas, the pandas, you tapped into your intuition because despite what the Western allopathic doctors were telling you and calling it a psychiatric condition, you knew
Hmm.
better.
Yes.
You had this intuitive feeling that no, this is an inflammation, this is an immunity issue.
Yes. It was, I mean, she had been fine, and so high achieving before this. Like she was just doing everything. She was the top of her class. She was the leader in her dance team. And so I knew it wasn't just like an all of a sudden, like it wouldn't be overnight that this psychiatric would develop. Like it was definitely something that was had something to do that was deeper.
which which is so interesting because I feel like, how did you know that? Because as a parent who, let's say, doesn't know much, and you look at the way that your child is presenting, all of a sudden she's she was high achieving, and all of a sudden now she's like receded. The common reaction that a parent might take is, oh, it must be social media. Something must have
Mm-hmm.
ruined her. She's just going through emotions that there's something physically going on, like something mental. They would definitely
Hmm.
say there's something mental, and they wouldn't tie it back to immunity and the brain and brain swelling.
I had 5 years before that, I have a friend who's a naturopath, and she had, for some reason, said, you should read this book called Saving Sammy. And Saving Sammy is all about this kid who develops pandas. And so when I saw this picture of Helen, like here she is just doing great. And then all of a sudden she has this regression and all these emotions that are just not her. I said, this looks like pandas. And so she didn't have any symptoms of strep throat. She wasn't able to mount a fever or show any signs of strep. So because I had read this book, I went to the doctor and I said, can you test her for strep, even though she didn't have any signs? So she tested her and she did. She had strep.
Wait, how does strep
Oh,
correlate with
PANDAS
pandas?
is associated with strep. So it's pediatric autoimmune. It's an acronym that stands for pediatric autoimmune neuropsychiatric disease associated with strep.
Oh, interesting.
Hmm. So it's a strep condition, but she wasn't able to kick it. She wasn't able to fight it at all. So her immune system, I mean, I believe from all the toxins that I had given her from an early age, not knowing, she came out and she had a lot of sensitivities, a lot of ear infections, a lot of sinus infections. So of course the doctors gave her antibiotics. So I just suppressed those. Her natural, ability, her body's ability to deal with those. And then I think, and then she just kept having incidents and incidents until, you suppress the body enough that,
Yeah. Right. It doesn't know it's not given the tools
no,
to self-regulate because it's always self-regulating. But we've been suppressing it for so
yes.
long, right?
And giving her vaccinations that, just made her have ear infections
Right.
and
Right.
asthma. So,
Exactly. I always say the medical system, they create the problems for you and then they sell you the solution. And
yes,
which is not a solution either.
no,
Your story about reading that book and being recommended the book gives me chills.
yeah.
It's
Well,
really just how everything works.
right. I really feel like I was guided, luckily,
Yes,
to open up this wonderful gift of homeopathy in my family. So the greatest thing is that now we can take back our power. We can heal ourselves. I can go ahead and my daughter's feeling sick. I can give her a remedy. She's going to be able to do it herself. They are both my daughters already asked me like, "Oh, mom, I'm whatever. I have an infection from where my cat scratched me on my finger." And she's like, "Can I have a remedy?" And so it's like we don't have to go to the doctor anymore. It's like
ever.
taking back your power. It's very empowering. Um,
Yeah,
and to be out of that system is very liberating.
it really is because that is a fear-mongering system for sure.
Hmm.
So I am familiar with homeopathy. I use it for bug bites, for bruises when we hit ourselves, for fever or whatever. But there's so much more to it, right? And you have already shared some stories about how homeopathy works for long-standing emotional or ancestral imbalances. But share with me, like, why would somebody want to seek out a homeopath to support their healing journey? And I'm talking about, I guess if you're just not feeling right, or what is it that, like, do you think that somebody could be seeking out a homeopath just as a tool in their toolbox without having any symptoms?
Um, I Everyone should have a homeopath, I believe, because we're all here working on something. We all came in to learn. So there's some imbalance, I believe, that we're all here to, not at all times, but like if you're, for example, I just had this case of this woman who came to me and she was just feeling insecure at work and feeling like what she says doesn't matter. And they'd have meetings and she's just like, oh, I just feel like I don't want to speak up for myself. I just feel like what I say doesn't matter. And then as we get more into, an hour later after she's talking and talking and talking, it turns out that she had a concussion 3 years prior. And and then she said, I just went over a bump like 3 months ago, and that same brain swelling feeling came back up. And she's like, and this was at the very end after talking more about like how she's nervous around her friends now. And so this woman's all of a sudden I was like, wait, you had a concussion 3 years ago, and then you felt that a couple months ago, and then all this emotional stuff just started. You started feeling insecure and you started feeling not worthy in your job. And she was like, well, yeah. And I was like, I think we need to treat that concussion, even though it was from 3 years ago. Obviously, your brain is not healed from that. And so, sure enough, arnica, which most people, if you know homeopathy, it's like
Yep.
arnica, give her some arnica, and she is just feeling so much better. And I wouldn't be surprised if emotionally,
Right.
because this is once again a brain swelling, you're having a concussion, but
Mhm.
homeopathy can heal that. I mean, people with concussions, they're just told to sit in a dark room. Don't read, don't be on a computer. I mean, for how long? Sometimes it takes a year. But if you take arnica in a high
Mhm.
potency with a under, that it is kind of one where you kind of need to have a homeopath, but it it heals it. It
Okay.
heals a concussion.
Okay, so this is sort of a woo-woo question
Okay.
because when you say we can take arnica, and let's say, because arnica is great for when people get bumps and bruises.
Hmm.
So you stub your toe, dang it, you take the arnica and it helps. But would you say that energetically, somebody stubbed their toe because in their emotional field, there's something going on? And so they stub their toe, right? That's the physical manifestation of what's happening, whatever blockage they have emotionally. And then when you take arnica, not only does it address the physical symptom, but it also addresses the emotional, chemical body imbalance, the
Yep.
energetic imbalance that's happening in the body.
Yes. Yes. I mean, if you're prone to, you know, hurting yourself all the time, there's a reason for that. There's an imbalance. Maybe yeah, you're not, your body's not in integrity. You're not
Mhm.
grounded. You're not, but there's a bigger picture. Like, but what's great is we don't have to label it anything. Is we just look at like, okay, what does this imbalance look like, and
Right.
what medicine is out there that can help heal that.
I really appreciate that you keep repeating that we don't need to label anything
Hmm.
and that it's just an imbalance. And I really love that because I truly believe words matter. And we need to be shifting from labels because labels are just sort of like a general umbrella and it takes away the uniqueness of each individual. And
Hmm.
so when you just look at an individual for who they are and how they're presenting, there are no labels. Every human is valuable exactly as they are. And if they're not showing up in a way that we feel like is to their highest potential, we can help them with that balance. But it has nothing to do with labeling them and telling them that they're less than,
Mm-mm.
that there's something wrong with them, and to keep manipulating them and taking them into offices and situations where they're consistently told there's something wrong with them.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what homeopathy, avoids. It's because, and it doesn't need to have a label. It's just rebalancing the energy system.
It's just looking at what is.
Hmm.
It's that's the root of it, right? It's looking at what is, as opposed to how the allopathic medical system seems to just have a list of things and they just tick the boxes. And so it's not even, it's dehumanizing the human.
Yeah. And the tools that they use, it just, it doesn't fix the problem. It just tries to make it go away.
Yeah, it's not a problem. That's the problem.
Hmm.
You can't fix something, that's not a problem.
Right.
You're just making a problem. Now, I want to ask you, so if there is a parent that is feeling stressed about the way that their child is presenting,
Hmm.
let's say I'm coming to you and I say, my child is disruptive in class. My
Hmm.
child is doing X, Y, and Z, and they're misbehaving. Would I be able to come to you and tell you that? And would you
Yes.
then ask me, how does that feel in my body? where is that presenting within me so that you could give me a remedy so that I'm not so focused on that there's something wrong with my child.
Oh, yeah. And you're intertwined with your child. So a lot of times that we do work with the whole family because energetically we're entangled with our family unit. So a lot of times, the mom does need a remedy as well as the child um, in order for them to heal.
Yeah,
Definitely.
right. Yeah. Well, thank you. I thought that was really good conversation.
Well, and it's interesting that you bring up um, in my work, it's called sensation process. And so when you do an appointment with me, you will actually tune into your child to be able to see how your child is feeling in their bodies and learn how to do that so that you can come up with a remedy for your own child. So we do a meditative state where you're tuning into your child, and then you'll tell me what's coming up. And it's like when I do the photograph, it's just what something you're going to be able to do is tune into your child's energy field because you're already connected to your child the very most. And um, it's reminding me of the telepathy tapes. Yeah, I mean so you can tune into your own child, and then like I remember when Dr. Lemke was having me tune into Helen, and she'd be like, "Okay, so what are you feeling?" And I said, "Well, I see this hole in the ground." And I said, and I want to go in the hole, and inside the hole, I see charcoal. And she's like, "Okay, well, you just described carbo veg, which is a remedy." And so that's how we would get the remedy is another way of doing that is doing the sensation process, you tuning into your own child, and that empowers you to be able to feel what they're feeling in their body, why they're being disruptive. Oh, and so carbo veg, what Helen needed was someone who's completely burned out and exhausted. Um,
Her brain was inflamed.
yeah. So,
Okay, so somebody could go on your website and under
mhm.
services, they could select, what do you call it? Sensation process?
Just the initial, they could just set up an appointment, like email me to make an
Yeah.
appointment, and then we could
Yeah.
do that sensation process together, which is really powerful so that
Yeah.
you can actually like see why your child is behaving the way they are and feel what it's like to be in their bodies and understand what that energy feels like.
You literally are empowering parents.
Yes. To heal their own children. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so they'll have their own little toolbox.
Yeah. And then they'll know how to do it. And then, I mean, that's how I learned. And I can tune into my kids, and now I can give them the remedy that they need on my own.
And so basically, anytime a parent has a child that they view as dysregulated, which probably a lot of them are, thanks to the conventional school systems, they can come to you and you will help them to tune into their child to give them a remedy
Hmm.
that will help their child. Interesting. Huh. Hmm. Well, now I'm like, okay, so my question is, oftentimes when a child is showing signs of not being able to sit in a classroom and acting out, right? That's a message that the child is giving to the world that the system doesn't work for him or her. Okay?
Yes.
Right? And it's an invitation for the parent to be able to have the courage to help that child step out of the system. However, if a parent were to come to you for a remedy, does that help that child to be able to sit and conform to what's necessary to participate in that classroom.
Yeah, in fact, I just took a case, or I watched a case being taken that this this boy around 10 years old was having trouble in the classroom and sitting still and being in his seat and being disruptive in the classroom. And so as I watched, and he was talking all about animals and prey and predator, like death. Oh, and then the oh, I can't remember all the animals he was talking about, but then he was like, and then
Pterodactyl, the
the
reptiles,
spider, yeah,
right?
the spider, it killed its prey, and it was all very dark, and you're kind of like, somebody might be like, oh my gosh, why is he talking about death so much? And I was like, oh, he needs an animal remedy. And then he started building, and she was asking him about, what do you like to do? And he's like, oh, I like music. And, what colors do you like? And he was like, oh, I like orange. And everything that she said, I was like, oh, this is very spidery. So spiders are a great remedy for kids with ADHD. So, kids who are very restless and have so much activity and love music and love to dance and have trouble sitting still in classroom. And he had all these toys out and he was just building, building, building. And I'm like, it's almost like he's building his web. Like it was so cool. And so at the end of the appointment, and the client left, and she was like, "Well, that was kind of obvious. It was a spider remedy." So yeah, I mean, there's remedies that are just profoundly changed how these kids are, because not being able to sit still is something that's, you need to be able to do that in life, and it's so transformative just to be able to give a remedy, and oh, now they can sit still in the classroom.
Interesting.
Hmm.
That's okay. So tell me more about a spider remedy. I mean, it's a homeopathic remedy, but it's not made with
It's made from a
spiders.
spider. Yeah.
Oh, it is?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you have homeopathic remedies that are not from plants?
Oh, yeah. They're made from animals and minerals and plants. And then they're not like herbs. They're ground up, and then they're diluted to a form where it's just the energetic signature. So
What?
you're taking something that doesn't have any of the original material in it, so there you wouldn't even be able to, with a microscope, see any of the spider or any of the plant or any of the mineral that's in there. You're diluting it so much that it's just the energetic signature of whatever it is that you're giving this person. And that's why it's so potent. It's just energy.
Right. And the way that this works, because the energy is so potent and it literally, when you put it in water, the water holds the energy,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So you actually don't even have to, I would imagine, I don't know. You wouldn't really have to harvest this remedy very often
Oh,
because
just,
the
yeah,
one
just
spider
once.
once
Yes.
basically creates, oops, creates the remedy.
Yes. Oh, just once for sure. Yeah.
That's so interesting. I
And
had
a
no
lot of times,
idea.
like they'll use, like, for example, lachesis, which is for hot flashes you're having in menopause. It's from snake venom. So you're using the venom from snake to treat hot flashes. It's amazing. And it's just down at New Seasons, or you can buy it on Amazon. And yeah, it's a lot. And it's interesting that a lot of I love that spirit. Like everything's just like spirit medicine out in our world. It's like meant for us to use. It's
Right,
like all of us are able to just go outside, pick it, and, use it as we
yeah,
please.
right.
And not that I'm going to have a snake and get its venom, but but that it's out
No,
there for us.
right.
And, it's like a gift from,
It's a gift. it's
from the
working,
earth
literally
to,
working with the gifts that Mother Nature gave us.
yes, that's what I was
Why
trying to
do we
say.
feel like we need to change what's already perfect?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? This is why
Right.
we don't advocate for allopathic medicine because they're manipulating something that's already perfect when we can find it in its perfect form.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, homeopathy. Wow. It's really cool.
It's amazing. You could study and study and study and there's just so much remedies. I mean, there's 300 remedies. There's, over 8,000 remedies and there's remedies, hundreds of remedies added every year
Yeah.
from, how many
Yeah.
spiders do we have?
It just
So there's always just so much to learn and it's evolving in such an amazing way.
and it just makes sense to heal things at an energetic level
Hmm.
because we just don't know enough about physical and mental experiences because every human is different and we
Hmm.
all come to every experience with our own programming. And so you
Right.
can't possibly know what the person in front of you is experience on a head-based level. You can only take what you see and what they tell you and take that and create a remedy from that. And that is true healing.
Yes. It's, yeah, just on the totality of the individual,
Yeah,
like what their symptoms are
right.
emotionally and physically.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
This was such a wonderful conversation. There's
Yeah.
so many ways that we could utilize homeopathy.
Yeah, it's mind-blowing, especially like when you look at they have miasm, so a generation susceptibility to a certain disease like tuberculosis. And carcinosin was one for my family. We have a lot of cancer in my family. And so we have this family miasm of overdoing, overworking, being too busy, kind of being the people pleasers and trying to, just do too much. And that's kind of a society. That's how our society is. We value that personality
Yes.
trait.
Yes.
And so to take a remedy for that, once again, can kind of heal the collective. Like if enough people are taking this and healing the collective, the mentality that we need to go, 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 and be busy every minute to prove our worth.
Yeah. It's
It's just
like
not
instead
healthy.
of instead of fluoride, they should be putting whatever that remedy is into the water
Yes.
because it's important. That is the universal message that we seem to be getting for the past few years has been to slow down.
Hmm.
Everyone is
Yeah.
getting that message in all
Hmm.
different ways. So many people are hurting themselves,
Hmm.
and in big ways where they have to slow down, and yet you see them not slowing down, wanting to speed up their recovery. I just need to get
Right.
back. No,
And
that's
that is our
not.
medical model.
Yes.
Let me take something so I can just go back to being that same dysfunctional, like busy, 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 busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Instead of actually,
we got to train
your
that
body
mind.
is talking to you that you need to
Yes.
slow down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Yeah. I think everybody should be contacting you for the sensory, what's it called? Sensory process?
Yeah. Sensory processing,
Sensory.
ADHD. I mean, I don't want to label it.
No, but sensory process because that way every parent feels empowered to support their children because they can sense it. That's what we're
Yes.
missing. That's what we're missing because we're so disconnected. We're so dysregulated. So if we can learn that, then we can help our children and help ourselves.
Yeah. And they're here to teach us. Our kids are here to teach us what's the imbalance within us.
Yeah.
That's why they're,
Cheers.
That's why they're showing us these imbalances is because we're here to learn from them, learn from them.
Yeah.
So,
So I want to talk about the perfect child because I feel like what you offer with your homeopathy and working with what you call complex children,
mhm.
we move into this space of every child is perfect. And so how does homeopathy help the child that conventional people would view as disruptive, argumentative, combative?
Yeah, with a label.
Yeah.
Homeopathy doesn't approach that way at all. It's definitely like we come in with unconditional regard for everyone who comes into the office. It's like it's a sacred relationship. So we're connected. We're all connected. So we're treating that as if I am that person as well.
Mm.
So there's no label, there's no judgment. You're coming in and there's an imbalance in your energy system, and we try to match it with a remedy that will heal that imbalance, period.
And that is essentially the key
Yes.
because we all come in, we're we're all sacred beings,
Hmm.
and because of what the child before us is experiencing, you're just helping that child to balance any imbalance in their systems. And
Hmm.
so there doesn't need to be a label.
No. No labels. No, we can find what the imbalance is and help them come back into tune with their sacredness and how they're supposed to be in the world.
Now, let me ask you this. Because a majority of the labels are experienced in a conventional school, why wouldn't every conventional school have a homeopath on staff?
I think I mean, it's such a bigger question. Like, why doesn't everyone see a homeopath right now? Why? Who's going to pay for that homeopath? Right? It wouldn't be through our, you
It's
know,
but like, you know how schools offer children who have learning disabilities, IEPs.
yes.
And oftentimes the IEP child will have a specialist that they can see at the school or
Yep.
maybe someone that shadows them,
Yep. A learning specialist they'd see.
okay? Who's paying for the learning specialist?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think all of our institutions need to, you know, be changed. And so homeopathy be recognized in the medical field as something that's valuable. And then to have a homeopath in a school system would be absolutely amazing.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is we basically just want to make sure that the homeschooling pods have access to homeopaths
Yes,
because you're not going to get the medical system to recognize homeopathy because literally Rockefeller created the medical system to put homeopathy out of business. So that's
exactly.
not happening. We're just going to have to circumvent that.
Yeah, at least
Okay.
not right now. Hopefully.
All right. Well, the power is in the people and the proof is in the pudding. So here we are. This is why I'm interviewing you and shining a light on homeopathy and how homeopathy can help every child
Yeah.
and every human.
Yes.
And we can help ourselves because you're helping us. This is great. Thank you.
Thanks
Is there anything else you want to
for
add
having
before
me.
we end our time together?
there's so much I could say about it that that it's hard to like condense it. So hopefully I made myself clear because I could speak forever about homeopathy.
Well, then we could have more conversations. We'll like put them into buckets.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great day. I'll see you
You
soon.
too. Okay, bye.